Not an expert, not a professional, I'm just a guy looking to leave today better than I found it. And if you're like me, you're constantly looking for ways to improve yourself. My name is Wade, and this is the place where we learn to be better together. It's time for Feel Good Friday.
Making a difference. Standing for what's right. A better tomorrow starts here. From the Do Good, Be Great studios, you're listening to The Daily Good.
And a fantastic Friday to you. So grateful you could be with us. And by the way, if you know anybody that needs a pick-me-up, pass along the broadcast to them, why don't you? We need to feel good together, and we feel good today via sunnyskies.com, who shares this. They say Anson Lemmer never imagined that on his last delivery of the night for Uncle Pizza in Glenwood, Colorado, that he would perform CPR and save a man's life. It was the 19-year-old's second day on the job. When he arrived at the address, he saw a man turning blue outside of the house. Two other people were with the man, one attempting CPR, and one on the phone calling it in. Quote, "When I pulled up there, I knew something was wrong, and I had to act. They asked me right away if I knew CPR," Lemmer said, who trained in CPR a year ago. Quote, "I jumped in right away to do those chest compressions." Lemmer said it was like a fight-or-flight choice, and he had to fight. Quote, "It is important to not get caught up in the bystander effect," Lemmer said. "I felt a couple of ribs break. He's going to wake up with sore ribs." It all happened in 10 to 15 minutes, he said, when EMTs from Glenwood Fire Department showed up to take over. Lemmer said they shook his hand and thanked him. Quote, "He started to breathe. Very wheezy. Not coherent yet," Lemmer said. "I backed off." The man was taken to the hospital, but the man's name and further details were not available. Lemmer called his parents soon after the incident. Quote, "I called my parents and said, 'This has been the craziest pizza delivery ever.' I left a pizza boy and came back a pizza man." Sounds to me like he was in the right place at the right time for all the right reasons. We continue now. An Ohio sheriff's deputy's quick stop at a lemonade stand turned into a moment 9-year-old Gabrielle will never forget. Zach Ropos stopped by the young girl's lemonade stand while on patrol. He said, quote, "I see a little girl come running up to my police car. She hands me a glass. I hand her a few bucks. I asked her what she wanted to do with the money. She said she'd get an iPad to help with school and play games." Ropos said he told the girl's mother he had an old iPad at home he could bring them the next day. Quote, "I went home that night, fired up the iPad, but it just wasn't updated anymore. Nothing really worked on it," Ropos explained. The next day, Ropos found a store that agreed to contribute to the cost of a tablet with him. Later Tuesday, Ropos met up with Gabrielle and her mother. Quote, "I talked to the little girl, gave her a speech about how courageous and admirable I think her efforts were to save up her money," Ropos said. "I asked her how much she had saved up, and she said she only had a few dollars." Gabrielle explained to Ropos that her mother's car ran out of gas, so the child gave up her hard-earned money to fill the tank. Quote, "When she told me she gave the money to her mom, that's when I almost started crying, because of how great of a kid she really was," Ropos said. Ropos handed over the tablet, and a sweet moment captured on camera. Quote, "She just wouldn't stop hugging me," Ropos said. "Seeing her face is how I remember Christmas when I was 5 years old. She couldn't stop smiling. Her smile was worth $1 million. And certainly your kind act, Officer Ropos, was probably worth the same to her. Our final story comes to us out of San Francisco, and it's about Feeding Forward CEO Kamal Ahmad. The 25-year-old CEO says it all started with one lunch that changed her life. You see, she's been able to feed over 570,000 homeless people in San Francisco with excess food from corporate events. Ahmad was attending the University of California at Berkeley when a homeless man approached her asking for money to buy food. Instead of giving him cash, Ahmad invited him to have lunch with her. As they ate, he told her his story. He was a soldier recently returned from Iraq and had a bad turn of luck. It bothered her so much that she decided to do something about it. Within a few months, Ahmad set up a program at Berkeley that allowed the school's dining halls to donate excess food to local homeless shelters. That program then expanded to 140 college campuses across the United States in about 3 years. Now she runs her own nonprofit service, Feeding Forward, and here is how it works. When companies or event planners have surplus food, they tap the Feeding Forward app and provide details of their donation. A driver is dispatched to quickly pick up the leftovers and deliver them to food banks. Quote, "Imagine a football stadium filled to its brim," Ahmad told CNET. That's how much food goes wasted every single day in America. Since Feeding Forward launched in 2013, the service, which so far serves only the San Francisco Bay Area, has recovered more than 684,000 pounds of food. That means it's fed more than 500,000 people and diverted more than 3.42 million pounds of carbon dioxide emissions from landfills. Moving ahead, Ahmad said she hopes to expand Feeding Forward to cities outside the Bay Area, including Seattle and Boston. That is a way to feed not only those in need, but the soul. For more feel-good and uplifting content, be sure to like our page, Do Good Be Great on Facebook. You can also subscribe to us by never missing a Daily Good podcast over on iTunes by searching Do Good Be Great. And my friends, I wish you a glorious weekend. Until we meet again on Monday, I encourage you to continue to be great.
Daily Good.